Thing is awesome.
But it's a shield. You can't equip it. You never know till you try.
I want Truth Bearer. Go take Rhaenyra's Truth Bearer back. Give it to me.
Judging by
You know who's not here to say, can you repeat that again?
Oh, of course.
X-Bite?
Yeah.
He's working.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
You gotta wait till the meeting's over and then be like, can you repeat that? I didn't hear a single thing you said.
Why does one of the coolest looking swords have to be a frickin' caster weapon?
Wait, which one is the caster weapon?
Wraith Blade.
Ooh, that is a nice. That is a nice sword.
Why does it have to be a caster weapon? That is probably one of the best like actual icons they've made.
Oh yeah.
In WoW, do you mean in WoW general or in SOD?
Come on, Blizzard, give us Transmog already.
I mean,
Probably
up to
just,
this point, at least in WoW, because they've definitely made cooler looking ones over the course of time.
I think Thunder Fury is pretty cool.
It is. I still think this is the most iconic.
Thunder Fury?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
No, Hungering Cold.
That one.
Where's All-Mighter? Oh, there he is. He just...
Wait, who's talking? Was that Wingmang or
Yeah, that's Wingman. My bad.
Hey,
the Corrupted Assbringer.
Dude.
That one and Hungering Cold are my two favorites, I think.
I mean, that's literally the only reason I leveled my paladin to
Christ.
60. Because we all know it's not a hunter weapon.
Yeah, it is.
everything is a hunter weapon. Even if they can't
Oh my
equip
God.
it, it's still
I am.
hunter.
HBO Max website is actually terrible.
Yeah,
It
that
just
lights
randomly
Can
started
we get a
playing out of
summon
nowhere.
for Apo and Merlin, please? Literally everybody's here except for two of the warlocks.
Why are you surprised?
How do I need?
Oh wait.
There we go.
Here's
Oh,
Stone
I
Cold.
gotta get there. Okay.
Mac, are you shorter?
Like, why are you
than
actually
we are?
surprised?
Be there in a
Sure.
little bit.
You don't come up to my knees.
Oh, You mean these nuts?
Ooh. So what I was just saying about Wraith Blade, there's another version of it called Iblis Blade of the Fallen that's an actual melee weapon. Yeah, I want that.
Has Blizzard announced that they're taking this to the next step to the Outlands or not?
Do what?
I was asking if Blizzard has announced or not. I've been away from this game since Phase 3, so I didn't know if they were considering taking it to the next phase, to the next expansion. with
They
Sod.
said no. They said it's going to end after this, but
If enough people want it.
No, after this we get a Scarlet Crusade raid, and they haven't really said anything after that.
I'm hyped for that.
Oh yeah.
That'd be cool.
I would love to see them do some sort of like transition into a TBC sod, where maybe
never happen.
They reset runes or something that like any runes that conflict with TBC stuff, they remove those and add new ones that you can get in TBC. I don't know.
Never
Something.
happen.
I'd rather them just do more stories here. Like, there's no point
That
going
would,
to
yeah, they have
Outland.
plenty of places to do more stuff in here as
Yeah.
well. Like they could do freaking what's it called?
Ooh.
The Morgan area.
Yes, the land to the east of Fellwood. Whatever it is, they can open that up.
Oh, Hygel.
Hygel, they can open up Hygel.
Yeah, they could do
They,
Hygel.
they won't do it.
That's kind of TBC
They're
territory.
going to
though.
end it and focus on TBC Classic.
If we can get a summon for Sword Stunna, please, we'll go ahead and get started. I am sharing my screen in Discord if you guys want to watch that stream, because we'll put the slide deck up so you guys can watch it there.
I'd love to see
Able
them add
see
ghost
the big,
lands.
the big cool picture of Kel'Thuzad there on screen.
This week you were alone.
JP.
Yes, no, maybe?
Is that a cigarette?
Yes, I can see Filthy Casual's face 7.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. All right.
Look at you getting it started right for once.
Hey, it's good to see everybody here. Thanks for being here tonight. I don't want to take up a terrible lot of your time, but we do want to kind of go over some things and kind of get prepared, get our minds right for what we're looking at in Phase 7. You know, I just want to say this from the very top. I've really super enjoyed the last phase, not necessarily the content so much as just being with you guys. We've gone from being like, you know, 8 or 9 different guilds with 8 or 9 different raid teams, and we've gradually condensed over time, and we're down to 1 raid team. And I feel like, you know, we have a great raid team that's pulling in one direction, and I'm really proud to be together with you guys. So thank you. By the way, because I'm not looking at my WoW screen, if you start whispering me, I'm not going to be able to I'm not going to really be able to help you or answer your stuff. Actually, before we do the rating plans, let's do a door prize. How does that sound? So we're going to do a door prize. I'm going to spin 3 times, and if you match any of these, I would like for you to get up on the wall, the ledge on the wall behind me. So the first thing will be 3 spins total. And it looks like the first spin are human rogues. So if you're a human rogue, get up on the ledge behind me.
Rigged.
Am I the only human
Pretty
rogue?
much.
All right. Dwarven paladins.
Sword Stunner, get up here.
If you are a dwarf paladin, get up on the ledge. Okay? How many
single
people do we
one.
have up on the ledge?
Well,
Ew.
Sword Stunner should be up
Ew.
here. I don't. Where are they at? There they are. They're hiding in the wall.
All right.
Okay, we got 2 so far.
Do we don't have any dwarf paladins?
That's not a good
No, that's the wrong
I guess
race.
that's a respin. I think that's a respin.
I think we're short on dwarf paladins. No warrior! We need a no warrior!
Do we have any no warriors?
We do.
Dash.
All right.
Yes.
All right, no warriors up on the wall. How many do we have now?
3.
3.
All right, we're gonna spin again. Here we go.
No warrior.
All right, all 74 Night Elf druids, and that's plenty.
Jeez.
All right, up on the wall, guys. Up on the wall. All right. So I'm looking. All right, stand still. I can't see Sword Stunner. All right. If you are wearing a guild tabard or have it in your inventory, put it on right now so I can see it. Nessie, I can't. You've got your noggin fiber on, so I can't see if you have a guild tabard.
I don't have one.
All right. If you're not wearing a guild tabard, please step off the platform.
Am I the only
Hey.
night up drawer
All right,
that's
Jess.
one?
All right. Jazz, you're disqualified. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna roll one more.
I'm here too.
Cody's up there.
Man, there's Booty Kitty.
Yeah, I know, but we all right. All right, here we go. Booty, you win the door prize tonight. You are wearing a guild tabard, and you win the door prize, which is 100 gold from the guild bank. So congratulations to Booty for winning the door prize.
Definitely rigged.
Yeah,
Definitely rigged.
definitely
I'm a
rigged.
poor night elf. Druid.
I don't believe.
Oh
Yes.
no.
You're definitely poor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely poor. All right, congrats, Booty, for winning the door prize tonight. All right, we're gonna go to the slides now and run through stuff. So it's been fun, but we're stepping into a new level of difficulty with Nax, and so we want to kind of set the, we want to finish out the last two raid tiers. We want to finish them up strong. We don't want to just kind of wimp into the night. But just a reminder, this is who we are. We're not toxic. We're not disrespectful. We want to make certain that everybody feels comfortable and happy here. We've got about 150 new people in the guild that I've been recruiting over the past couple of weeks. Be helpful to them. Be kind to them, and help them out because they are the future of the guild. So just that reminder, just to treat others as you want to be treated. So with that said, let's talk about story time with Jazz. Let's talk about raid etiquette for Phase 7. So Jazz, take it away.
All right, guys. With raiding, there's always some things you got to go over and be consistent with behaviors on it. Of course, we have one raid team, as you can tell, Tuesday and Sunday, 7 p.m. server. That's not something that's going to change. That's still going to be consistent there. The roster is still currently at 34.
33.
I forgot Rhaenyra. 33. Room for 6. Need some DPS there. Prefer melee,
And
but
we are
another
currently
priest.
short a holy paladin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Of course, if you want to raid, guys, talk to us. So, or let Mac know immediately after meetings. So that way we can kind of figure things out. But with our current group, we'll discuss what roles are needed with you afterwards. Let's go to the next slide. With the raid time, make sure you're there early. I prefer like 15 minutes early at the latest. That way we can get together and start doing things. Of course, assume you won't have a summon. And definitely have your buffs and consumables. Now, people, it's not really hard to check, y'all. We just go to Method Raid Tools and we can see that. But we will be checking on that. It's something that really helps out the raid. I mean, you can spend 15 minutes getting your buffs every week, or we can spend an extra hour like wiping. Some of this stuff is important. So make sure you do that. Have full enchants. The guild does provide a lot there. So you want to make sure you get those enchants done. Once again, the more damage, the more healing we got, improves the chances of downing bosses. It gives us more room for error. So try to be a good teammate and get those done. We're not going to try to pull more than what we can. We want to finish like 2 hours, but with Nax, for especially early on, it's probably going to take both nights. So be prepared to raid both nights. Even if the first night's a little bit rough, get them back. We have enough time to get refreshed and get that done. So keep that in mind. During the encounters, it's going to be raid leaders talking, unless designate directly from like me or Mac. Okay. During loot, guys, don't need to hang around the boss and just stare at him while loot's going out. We're going to be pulling trash. That way we respect your time and try to do everything as fast as we can. At the end of the day, if we can cut something down to one night a week, we'd rather do that. That respects more of your time. So keep that in mind. Of course, loot drops. If you don't get it, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's always been consistent with our rules. Uh, nothing's really changing with that. You know, it's not because it might be your BIS. If it's still improvements on somebody and they have it on soft reserve and you already had a +1, you got to understand that. The loot will drop. Everyone will be pretty geared out by the end. Know your class and know your roles. So, with regards to that, if you're expected to mainly decurse or depoison, you're going to need to do that. If I see like 0 on your name and that's your job, well, we'll have to reassess things at that time. I mean, I want to be fair, but at the same time, you got to do your job. You can't just sit there and just mindlessly hit buttons. If you have an issue, I'd rather not, like, you know, always try to bring things way out in the open because sometimes it causes more drama than necessary. Do a whisper to the officer and discuss it with us, and we'll do our best to respond. But also understand sometimes we got a lot of things going on. So if it's not immediately or we miss you, keep harassing us. That's fine. But at the end of the day, the main point of this game is to down bosses. So, but any questions so far? We're good. Okay.
One thing I did want to say, Jazz, is that there is Jazz talked about enchants on your gear. The guild does have. I do have the new 65 spell power to 2-hand enchant that everybody is wanting now. I have a few Blood of the Heroes in my bag, and I have some Nexus crystals. So if any of our, I think it's probably Boomkin, definitely, you know, they're going to want them. Our Warlocks, you know, anybody that has a 2-hander, any of our casters are going to want that because it's just 65 spell power is huge. If you need that, if you can provide the dust and the there's another thing that you need for it, but if you can provide the other mats, then the guild can provide the Nexus crystal and the blood. But it's really, really, really powerful to have. So a lot of new enchants out there, so make certain that you're availing yourself of them. Just a reminder, raid spot's a commitment. We typically try to get raids out there as soon as possible. I just put up our signups for our first couple of signups for our raids. You know, the bottom line is we can't plan for a raid if you don't sign up. If you are a no-show, that is, if you signed up but you didn't show up, or if you didn't sign up and didn't show up, we're just not going to mess around. We're just going to replace you permanently. So I do understand life happens, especially in the past few months. We had some snowstorms, people's power and internet went out, and the sooner that we're able to know, the easier it is for us to fill your position. So, you know, everybody has a smartphone, so there's no excuse not to be able to get onto Discord and just, you know, send me a message, let me know. That way, you know, that way we'll be able to know exactly, you know, what to expect.
Just
Go ahead.
man, I just communicate with us, guys. It's not like I don't think we've been kind of open. I mean, granted, sometimes things get tense and things happen. You got to do something. Just communicate. The one thing that like it bothers the most and causes the most stress is when we don't get that communication. Like, hey, I can't be here that night or whatever. So I mean, just not communicating is not acceptable, and just want to point that out. It's really not acceptable.
Yeah, it's, you know, Jess and I are both handling a lot of. We're handling most of the guild administration, so it just really helps us out if you sign up or let us know ahead of time. That just makes it much less of a headache for us whenever it comes to trying to run raids. Our loot policy is not going to change at all. We'll still do hard reserves for tanks and heals. We'll do soft reserves for everyone, 1 per lockout. Past that soft reserve, everyone gets at least a +1 on your main spec. On the off-spec rolls, obviously you're going to roll 99. We did get a little bit lazy this last time because a lot of people were. I mean, if somebody, if nobody else rolls neat on it, I understand that. But we're going to kind of need some Nexus crystals. So, I think I've probably seen some rolls that probably were main spec, but people rolling off spec because they were unopposed. So just kind of keep that in mind when we're looking at gear. And then usually if an item doesn't get claimed, then we'll DE that and we'll get that. We'll put those Nexus in the guild bank and use those for your enchants. Occasionally we're going to run flex raids. In those raids we'll do a main spec over off spec +1 policy. Occasionally we'll allow a hard reserve if we're trying to farm up a very specific piece. Such as the bindings or maybe some sort of legendary piece. And just the main thing to keep in mind is that if we bring pugs in, they are guests, and we want to treat them with respect.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Just one other
let's talk about
one other thing about the
question.
loot real quick.
Go ahead.
Guys, communicate the loot rules. If you're in a flex raid, make sure we have that communicated. The loot rules. If you have pugs there and we're still doing hard reserve, communicate that immediately, because that loot drama is probably the number one thing that happens the most in WoW. So make sure to communicate those the loot rules pretty clearly with pugs, or if you're doing a hard reserve for a flex raid.
And it just takes one of those drama things for a raid that's related to us to give us a bad name on the server. So, obviously we want to make certain that if somebody gives up their lockout that we treat them right and they understand what the loot rules are. So, point well taken there. So we're going to talk about Naxxramas. I've posted a lengthy video in rating resources, so my expectation is that you will have watched that that particular video before we get there. If you've never rated in Naxx before, this is a step up in difficulty from any of the other raids that we've done. There are actual mechanics that we really, there were a few tank and spank, but some of them we're really going to have to coordinate. There's, Saffron. We've got to think about hiding behind ice blocks, and we've got to think about the safety dance with Huygen, and then there's the big Frankenstein guy that has the plus and the minus. Trying to think of his name. Thaddeus, yeah. So, I mean, it is a huge step up in difficulty compared to what we've done so far. So, don't show up for raid not knowing the fights. Take the time. We will do, we'll do a short story time, but I will expect you guys to know the fights before we go into the raid. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our war chest and where we're sitting. So from what we're seeing, we're going to need 3 different kinds of protection potions. And so I want to give a shout out to Bear Tracks, who's really done most of, probably the lion's share of the farming. I want to thank Jas, Dots Pew Pew, Prot, and Stone Cold. Along with myself, we've been farming mats to kind of start building our war chest, at least on our bank tune. I know Bear Tracks has a bunch more, but at least right now we've got 180 greater shadow protection potions. There will be specific encounters that we need those. Frost protection potions, we've got 370. We'll definitely need those for a couple of fights, definitely Saf. Also related to frost protection, at some point you're going to want to get you want to go ahead and farm up the insignias to get your head and leg enchant. It's called Ice Guard, and that comes from Argent Dawn. So you're going to need those. That's an extra 10 frost protection for your head and your leg. But then also frost resist gear comes within Naxx. So it's, there is some frost resist out there, but it's going to be a little bit subpar, coming into Naxx. So kind of keep that in mind. So do your best at getting whatever you can, but just know that we're going to need to get some frost protection. I think at least what we've been reading is melee are probably going to want about 150 frost protection, and range probably about 100. So don't quote me on that, but we'll definitely have the frost protection potions. Pallies will have that frost protection aura, and I think Mark of the Wild also protects some as well. And then we'll continue to need nature protection potions. So, we have a good little war chest right now, but I would just ask that, just consider as we get low, we'll be, if we get low on something, we'll just send a request out for folks to help us with farming. So, if you do have any of the masks for any of those items, certainly appreciate it. Anything that you can do. The guild is definitely going to be buying a bunch of them, but we've got a good war chest to start out with. All right, let's talk about world buffs. We have a brand new Runecloth Bandage Czar, and his name is Beartrax, also known as FC Buffs. So FC Buffs is the name of a tune. One of the things that's going to be handling Runecloth bandages and getting having our consumable world buffs. I think one of the things that we saw whenever we started providing those world buffs from the guild is we saw just an increase in our efficiency. I think our overall clear times decreased by about 45 minutes. So that was huge. So, one of the things we want to try to do is we want to try to provide 2 sets of world buff consumables per raid night. Now, this does not necessarily replace your need to go out and get your own world buffs in case you die. You're going to want some world buffs back, so you'll want to unboon for those in case you do die. But we're going to commit to having 2 sets of consumables per raid night. So to help us do this, it's going to take about 2,800 Runecloth bandages per week for us to do it. And the guild's going to kick in a ton. So the guild's going to kick in about 1,200 Runecloth a week. But we're also asking that each of our raiders do their best to try to send 50 Runecloth bandages every week to FC Buffs. That's the name of the tune. If you can do that, that will really help us to provide those consumables. You say 50 Runecloth. Well, you can it's pretty easy to either run 1 dungeon a week if you run Scalo or Strat, or if you run the new Kara Crypts dungeon. It doesn't take long to get 50 Runecloth. Convert them to bandages, send them to FC Buffs. It's pretty easy. I talked to Beartrax, and one of the things we don't want to do, he's been very magnanimous with his time, if you don't have 300 or if you don't have the ability to make Runecloth bandages, I mean everybody should at this point. If you can send the bandages to him, but if you can't do them, just send the Runecloth and he's able to make them. But preference is the Runecloth, because it's just not fair to ask somebody to make 2,800 bandages every week. So that's essentially what we want to do. So we're asking each raider 50 Runecloth bandages, send them to FC Buffs. Bear, do you want to speak up and talk a little bit? Is there anything that I missed?
I guess as far as the bandages are concerned, the little boxes we get from them as well, I'm gonna just try to sell whatever I can on the auction house and donate the money. And then whatever I can't sell, I'll just get disenchanted and put into disenchanting mats.
Cool. So
That's the heavy Runecloth bandages?
no,
No,
they're
not
Regular.
heavy. Regular. That's
The
why
one
we
I've made a
said
million of.
50 rune. Yeah, it's the regular Runecloth, so only 1 for 1. Yeah, not heavy.
And I think everybody agrees that having the world buffs really helped us out in AQ. So, if we can just kind of start getting on that pay it forward train, obviously the guild's going to buy a bunch of Runecloth ourselves. But if you can start helping out by sending at least 50 Runecloth, to FC buffs every week. That'll really help us to kind of be able to fund that. Okay, so let's talk about what do I need to do between now and our first raid, which is going to be next Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. So what is that, the 11th? Yep, it's 11th. So the first thing, obviously, is you need to get your attunement to Nax done. It's very simple. You have to be at least honored with Argent Dawn. If you're not there yet, then you need to do what you got to do to get that rep up. And then I think there's just one quest that you have to do. And there are some mats that you're going to need depending on your overall rep. But you'll need to get that done so that you can come to raid. If you just show up to raid on the 11th and you're not attuned, then you can't raid. So, make certain you get your attunement done. Second thing we want every raider to do, is to farm up your 3-piece sanctified set. Now I know this is going to break some, some of your tier sets, but it's an easy 3-piece to farm up. You can get your chest in Kara Creps, or you can get it in Invasions also. You can buy your bracers off the auction house. And then your gloves you can buy with 30 necrotic runes from the Argent Dawn Ret vendor. Now, these are lower, but they do give you a lot of extra bonus, a bonus multiplier for damage and healing. And as you get your, what used to be a trinket, what's it called, Mark of the Dawn, then it's going to, for every piece of Sanctify that you have, it's going to make you that exponentially more powerful, up to 8 pieces. So before we have our first raid, every raider, we expect you to have your 3-piece Sanctified farmed up. We're going to, as we get extra pieces, as BOEs, I'm posting in Discord that we have those pieces and happy to give those. I think right now I have like a rogue tank bracer and like a DPS melee bracer that's leather as well. We have a couple of those, but as you have those that you're not using, if you want to advertise that in the raid channel, that way folks can get what they need, because I know some of them are a little more expensive. I think the Shadow Priest one was selling for like 300 gold the other day. So definitely now's the time to get those farmed up. You're also going to want to farm Insignia of the Crusade. There are 2 different. There's a Shadow Guard enchant and an Ice Guard enchant that I talked about. You're probably going to want to get the Ice Guards. You'll probably want 2 of those. I wouldn't apply them just yet, just in case you get better gear before we get to Saffron, but those 2 things are going to give you 20 additional frost resistance. So those are bought, each of those are bought with 10 insignias of the Dawn. You're going to have to farm up 20 insignias total, or Insignia of the Crusade, sorry, to have those in your bag. Also, you just need to be running Karazhan Crypts. There are actual upgrades in there. I got an eye level 84 belt that was a no-brainer for me. It was a 20% upgrade. So be running Karazhan Crypts. Every lockout is good. Do your best to try to run with guildies, because when you run them with guildies, what happens is they're not gonna, pugs are gonna, they're not gonna be as generous with allowing you to get the BOEs, and just running with pugs sucks anyway. But we can be a lot more effective if we're running crypts together. So should be running that every day. Also get your shoulder enchant or your set bonus. There's a quest and a vendor for that close to Light Hope Chapel. It's to the southeast of Light Hope Chapel. It's a very simple quest. You go to an invasion, you loot the one item, you take it back, and that opens up your ability to purchase a shoulder enchant of any tier set bonus that we've had in SOD. Get that done. And then Also, you're going to want to start doing the invasions, farming your remnants of valor. Now they've changed it so you don't have to actually get a tag. So every time there's an invasion, you can do the repeatable quest called Never at Rest. And that will let you farm the remnants of valor. What the remnants of valor are for is for your trinket that you keep in your bag, and that helps you to level that up, so that you're going to do more damage, you're going to do exponentially more healing. That's what the remnants of valor are for. And I think the first week you can level it up one level for like 150 remnants. And so for each time that you turn in that quest, you get 40 remnants. So just 4 times to turn that in, and you'll have your first week upgrade. And you're just really going to want to keep on top of that every week, so that so that your DPS stays competitive with the rest of the raid. The last thing that I really want to encourage us not to do is raid log. And I know that I know we've kind of got into a habit of that, especially with us doing a lot of things in other modes of WoW on other servers. But I just want to challenge each of us. There's a lot that we can be doing right now to be preparing for Naxxramas. So make certain that you're doing all of these things on this page, because if you're only raid logging, your trinket is not going to be upgrading. And then you're going to fall behind on your DPS, and what that does is that keeps the guild, that prevents the guild from being able to do hard modes. And we want to do hard modes so that we can get more gear and gear faster. So definitely, that's my challenge. Don't raid log. Get in here on a daily basis. Farm up what you need, and let's do it together and have a good time with that. So I know there's a lot on this slide, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at the end. But that's my plea to our raid team, is to do the things we got to do to set us up for success. On launch day, which is this Thursday, we're going to have a flex raid, a sneak peek Naxx raid, and this is open to our current raiders only. There's a sign up in the flex raid channel. It'll be Thursday, 7 to 9 servers, so the same time we normally raid. Right now we don't have a lot of healers signed up, so we do need some more folks to sign up in order for us to pull this raid off. We just want to get in there and see what the encounters are like, see what the tuning is like, see how we stack up. And so I would ask that you just go out there and sign up in flex raids, please. Couple of things. Bank's sitting on about 12,000 gold, a little bit under that because we've had to buy some things in the last couple of days. Our goal has always been to end the last phase with 1 copper in the bank. So we're going to continue to subsidize our raid efforts with those Runecloth bandage donations. We're going to provide as many of the consumables as we possibly can. So we're in a good place as far as the bank. I've already talked about the Nexus crystals. If you're new to us, formulas, patterns, recipes typically go to our guild designated professionals. And so, I'm our guild enchanter. So typically I get those recipes. Jas is one of our guild
Alchemist.
Alchemist, thank you. And so typically those go to him. And if some of those things, those patterns, if we already have them, we're going to roll it off. It's no problem. The main reason is that we typically go to those guild designated professionals is because we've had some really, really nice patterns drop in the past, and those people either quit the guild or they stop playing, and then we lose access to those formulas. So I know I'm not going anywhere. Jas is not going anywhere, and anyone that we give those recipes to, they're not going to be going anywhere. But we want to be able to have them there, so you don't have to go out and spend 60 gold on, not only on the mats but also on the, to some pug who wants to, really, really screw you over on a fee. So that's why they go to us. We also know that war-torn scraps, and they're of different types. I think there's plate, mail, leather, and cloth. These are some of the items that we turn in for tier. We're going to be banking those, and we will funnel those to those who win tier tokens. So just so you guys know, that's similar to what we've done with the scarabs and the idols in the past. We're going to kind of do the same thing. Thankfully, it's not as many that we have to keep in our bags now, so it's a lot easier. But just so you guys know ahead of time, that's how we're going to be handling those.
Hey, Mac, for some reason I have a cloth scrap already. Do you want me to give that to you after this?
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you. So let's talk about what things are looking like for the guild. As you know, retail folks, we have a retail guild. We're going to continue to do our thing. That is get an AOTC every tier and then go on hiatus to focus on SOD. If you are a retail raider with us in the past, or if you are new to the guild and you're used to heroic raiding in retail, we have a survey out there. Take the survey, let us know. That way we kind of have an idea of what to expect. I don't think that the new raid drops until March, so just so you guys know that's coming. But again, SOD always comes first. We do have two other guilds. One is on Doomhow. That's our hardcore server, and as those tunes die, they're going on to the other classic fresh realm, which is Dream Scythe. We have guilds on both of those, but the plan is for us to continue doing SOD until it's done. And I put August question mark. We don't know when SOD is going to be done. If we get another, if we were blessed to get another raid or more content, we're just going to continue playing it up until we get to winter 2025. And at that point, if SOD is completely done, and if we don't get a classic plus, then we'll start on TBC, Burning Crusade, in this next winter, almost a year from now. And so that's kind of our overall long-range plans as a guild, because we know that SOD is seasonal and it is going to come to an end. But we have a great community here. We want to keep us all together and love raiding with you guys. So that's kind of what our long-term plans are at this moment in time on Groundhog Day. All right, so I've gone through a lot of stuff. Are there any questions? Are there any comments? Anything that I didn't cover that I need to cover? Now is the time to open your mic and ask.
Hey, so Runecloth bandages. Let's say I'm really lazy and I want to do it all in one go. What are we estimating? What's the lump sum I can buy into?
Full set 600.
I like your attitude.
600. I like it.
700. It's actually
700.
700. Yeah.
Oh, is it 7
700
now?
bandages?
7. Okay, I'll get it next week.
Please don't do them all. Everybody, please don't do them all at the same time, because what that's going to do is we have limited bag slots. So, if everybody sends 10,000 Runecloth bandages to Bear, he's going to pull his hair out. So
What a good problem to have.
it is a great problem, but what a problem. So I appreciate you guys just sending them in. That's really, really helpful for us. So great question though, Prot.
I don't have bag space for that. I'll park them on an alt and just trickle feed them to Bear.
That sounds good. Thank you. Who else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
God damn, Trog, really?
Will there be any alternate raid groups for different timings?
So right now, we just have enough raiders to field one raid team. I'm not terribly opposed to having some flex raids or some off raids, but I think probably at this time we're looking at just one raid team, and if we get enough people that are geared and are able to run NACs, then we'll set up some flex raids and run them.
Okay.
Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, I didn't hear a single word you said. Can you repeat that?
Okay, X-Bite.
There it is.
Yep. It has arrived.
And we get Towley back.
Talk to Tally.
How many tanks are we running this? How many tanks are we running this tier?
Enough.
We've got
Here's-
Prod and Salty being our two primary tanks. We've got Nessie, and we've got Sterigord, and we have Prawnstash and Keyboard Hero. So we've got 6 people that can tank this time.
How many
Okay.
healers do we have?
That's what I was going to ask, because I
So
don't know, would it
healers-
be better off for me to go disc with my priest as opposed to going shadow?
So healers we have right now we have two resto druids and we have 2 discipline priests on the heal team. We just found out that we lost our holy paladin. We do have Isiad and Jay, who are a priest and a resto druid who can fill in. So officers are going to try to figure out, how we're going to fill Rhaenyra's spot. Ideally, it would be ideal to have at least one holy paladin in there if possible. But Jess and I need to talk through that. But that's kind of where the heals team is sitting right now. It was a surprise. He just left Guild without saying anything. So.
I mean, my main originally was Anduin, which is a paladin that I was either going to go ret or holy with. I mean, I don't know holy very well, but I'm sure I could pick it up. I've healed for the last 3 phases, so if it would behoove to make a better choice for the guild for me to go with my paladin and stay holy, I can do that. I would just need help getting geared up.
Sure. Let's have an offline conversation about
Yeah.
that if you want. After the meeting, we can have a talk about it and just try to figure out. We do want to honor those people that have sat and waited for their opportunity to heal full time. But also at the same time, there's also a raid comp to kind of be thinking about on the heal team as well. So definitely we'll have an offline conversation. So other questions or comments?
Got a question.
Yeah.
Are we planning on doing the hard modes earlier this time or at all, or have you thought about that?
There's one, unless they change it, there's one hard mode, one quarter that we can do hard mode that looks like really trivial. And, I would say our first clear, probably no hard modes, but probably starting the second clear, we probably start needing to push at least one hard mode, maybe more, depending on how hard they are. So, but yes, we would love, we would love to do more hard modes this time. We were doing all hard modes in BWL, and I want us to do, to see some of that content this time as well.
One comment on that too. It depends too. Like, is everybody fully committing to doing their best on it and everything like that?
Yep.
Because if we're struggling on normal, there's no reason to do like a hard mode on a certain week.
Yeah.
So it depends on how much you guys prepare and how much consumes we bring, and it's really on the raid team for that. Yeah. Do we want to do it? Yeah. But it depends on you guys.
I guess my biggest thing would be like,
for sure. Go ahead. Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead.
my biggest thing is like, I'd kind of like to see us, if we're going to do it, commit to it. Because like we saw in AQ, when we got to a boss that was actually difficult and required some extra planning, we weren't prepared for that, right?
Yeah.
And it cost us that. If we'd have been prepared, I think it would have went better. So just, if we're going to do it, commit to it and prepare for it, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm calling all of us to cut down on the raid logging and get in here, farm the mats, get what you need so we can do the hard modes. That is our intent. That's what we want to do. But we're not going to sit here and wipe and waste everybody's time. So,
yep.
It's a great question. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on to the last part of the meeting, and that is what everybody's been waiting for, and that is this time we have this right here. We have the appearance of another legendary weapon. We were very fortunate to be able to get Thunder Fury for Prot, and Prot worked his butt off to get the mats for Thunder Fury, and that's something that we as a guild are very proud of. Unfortunately, we never got a Sulfuris, but you know, we want to try to get an Atesh for one of our raiders this time. We did have a lot of candidates who were really worthy. Some candidates not so worthy because they weren't even eligible. Thank you, Prot and Sterigord, for your meme entry on the survey. But
Very welcome.
But we did have a lot of worthy candidates who expressed interest, and I wish that we could get one for everybody. This last week, the officers went over that list and talked at length for about an hour about, you know, who should we put on a short list, and kind of all along this has really kind of been our criteria for legendaries. These are things that I've seen split guilds apart if done incorrectly. For example, I've seen them give a legendary to an officer or somebody in leadership, and I've seen the guild split apart over that, and for that reason neither Jas nor I have any interest in wielding that thing or doing it. I've seen people get a legendary and G-quit, so obviously we're looking for people that are extremely committed to our guild. So, you know, our first criteria is our length of time in the guild, and you know, we've been around for over a year now, and so we're looking for people that have been around for a long time. You know, we want to look for people that are loyal to the guild, and you know, helpful to people and doing things for others. Consistent attendance is really important. You know, I'm not inclined to give a legendary to somebody who takes a few months off at a time or steps down for a tier or whatever. It's not that those people might not be committed, but you know, because a legendary is so powerful to the overall power of the guild, especially with some of the buffs we're going to see, we want to give it to someone that we know is going to be there, we know is going to participate, that's not going to be here one week, miss another week, that sort of thing, be spotty in their attendance. So that's a really big one for us. And then obviously being committed not only to farming up all the mats that they need for it, but also a commitment to finishing SOD in our guild on the tune that receives it. I would be, you know, again, I saw somebody in Wrath get Frostmourne, and the very next day he G-quit and joined one of the cutting edge guilds on the server after we helped that person farm it for months at a time. So obviously these are going to be people that, you know, this finalist on the short list, these are going to be people that we really do, and it's not that we don't have that trust on everybody that expressed interest. It's just for us, there were two people on that list that stood out as people that really met that criteria in a strong way. I don't think that there was really much of anybody that you know had a bunch of strikes against them. A lot of people were very worthy, but there were two people that did meet the criteria. So without further ado, those two people are Salty and Xanath. And I'll talk a little bit about Xanath and a little bit about Salt. Both of these guys joined our guild as raiders in phase 1. And neither one of them, and so, you know, that goes back to December of 23. Xanath has been a rockstar healer for us. I very rarely out-heal the guy because he's just so committed to being the best priest he can be. So, you know, he's always always our top heels in the guild. So I can't think on the heel side a more worthy recipient. And then on Salt side, again, he's been in the guild just as long as Xanath has been. He's been our tank from the very beginning, and he's tanked different raid teams and always been there. And so for both of these guys, they've really been faithful to the guild and really meet. It's not that other folks that were on the long list didn't meet a lot of the criteria. Those two guys just really kind of stood head and shoulders above everyone else for us. So again, I just want to be real clear. I appreciate everyone that reached out and demonstrated an interest in Atesh, and it's certainly not meant to be a slight in any way if you're not one of these two guys. But it just became really obvious to us that these are the two guys that would be the candidate. So you notice that we do have two candidates. So how we are going to settle this, I guess I better log back in, is we're going to do a death roll. So
No, Makara.
no, Magara. Nope. So before we do that, I want to ask either Xanath or Salt if there's anything you guys want to say or talk about, or before we do the final choice and let fate be the one to decide who is going to be our first candidate.
Well, yeah, I'll say something. Salty and I were on the first raid team in Novergon together, and I really think that he deserves this weapon, and good luck in the role. I really appreciate everything that you've done. It's always solid, and you've been there for the whole time. So I would be happy to give this weapon up for you, but you're going to have to beat me in a death roll.
Love it.
I appreciate it, Xanath.
All right, guys.
Well, very well said.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to start with a death roll at 1,000, and so if both of you guys would roll 1,000. I'm not seeing any roll. Okay.
1,000?
Yep. All right. So both of you roll 459.
No.
That's how it works.
I'll go next.
All right.
Max, not really much of a gambler.
I'm confused. Why is it 334?
Their death roll.
This is what a death roll is, Mac.
All right. Well, go ahead then.
You roll based on what the next one is.
All right.
Damn.
Nice.
That was a nice roll.
Whoever hits one first loses.
Yep. That I understand.
Well, I got a bad feeling about this one.
Mac, reinvite Sturgord.
Oh.
8.
I can't invite anybody. I'm not the party leader.
Bobby's leader.
No. Nice roll.
Wow. Oh no.
Okay.
Jeez.
20%.
Hold your breath.
Oh, congratulations, Salty.
Oh wow.
Yay.
Good roll, Xanath. Good roll.
That's awesome.
All right. Congratulations, Salt. You are going to be our
That's
first-
awesome.
You're going to be our first person to get Atesh. We'll make Xanath our second
Hopefully.
person, and then we'll have conversations if anybody